wondered what's up with that chicken skin at the back of your arms? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragush here, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. Today, I am going to share with you exactly what is going on with that chicken skin at the back of your arms and what you can do about it. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a health and success-oriented community by clicking below and joining the Natural Health newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's question. All questions are kept confidential and I read them and answer them as if it was me. Hence why it is called What Would I Do? The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I'm not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate and inform you so you're able to take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues with your healthcare professional. Today's question is, the skin on the back of my arms feels like chicken skin and has lots of little pimples, which are so unattractive. What are they and what can be done naturally for them? Thank you so much for writing in. This is a question I get so often, right? So let's figure out what is it. Well, it's actually called keratosis pilaris, right? So if you go to a doctor and they say you have keratosis pilaris, essentially it means you have chicken skin at the back of your arms, right? But it's not just at the back of your arms. It can appear in other areas too. It's tiny little bumps or pimples that are actually dead skin plugged up hair follicles. And sometimes they're red, sometimes they're brown. It depends on the individual and their skin color. It's commonly found in the upper arm, and that's why people are like, I got chicken skin on my upper arm. Some people have it on their thighs, some people have it on their cheeks and on their buttocks. It's not contagious, so don't stress if you see someone having it or if you have it or your partner has it. They actually are not causing that much discomfort. They're not really itchy usually or discomforting. But usually people find them very unattractive, especially if it's summertime and you want to wear a nice shirt, you want to wear a nice dress, and there your arms are filled with little pimples. It actually affects about 50 to 80% of adolescents and approximately 40% of adults. Most people, like I said, have no issues with them. It's not itchy or anything, and probably unaware of the condition unless they look at their arms or their thighs or whatever, wherever it is, or someone else does. Research still doesn't really understand the cause of it, but they believe that it's a buildup of keratin-formed plugs in the openings of the hair follicles. And essentially, keratin is a fibrous structural protein found in your hair, nails, epithelial cells that make up the outermost layer of your skin. It's essentially building blocks for your skin, necessary for your skin to keep regenerating. But what's happening, it's becoming clogged up, and therefore these little pimples are coming up. And I can understand that most people find them very unattractive, or they just want to remove them, like just get rid of them, do something about it, right? So some questions I have for you would be, when did you start noticing them? When did they start? Do you have any food intolerances? Because sometimes food intolerances can make these worse. Do you have any allergies? Because sometimes when an individual is allergic to something, they go red and they pop up more. What makes it better? What makes it worse? Think about summer, think about winter, think about dry, think about moist air. When is it worse and when is it better? What is your diet like? Do you eat 5-6 cups of veggies a day, or do you eat 5-6 cups of junk food a day? What is your omega-3 to 6 ratio like? Do you have any recurring illnesses? What medication are you on? Are you on any? Have you been diagnosed with any other illnesses or diseases? What's your sugar intake like, your alcohol intake? What's your liver health like, right? Do you have any other skin conditions, or when you were a kid, have you had any other skin conditions? Do you have any fungal infections also? There's so many questions to ask yourself in regards to this, but one of the main ones is, do you have any other skin conditions? What's your hair like? What are your nails like? Because keratin is the same thing that causes them to grow or not grow or be brittle, right? So what would I do? Let's have a look at, right? The first thing that I would do is review my food intolerances, because sometimes these are allergic and they pop up even more, right? I would review my cosmetics, my shampoo, my body wash, my moisturizer, anything that I put on that skin. I would review the ingredients and do a little bit of a cult, like remove things that no longer serve you in regards to cosmetics. Keep a diary of your symptoms and food. So when it gets worse, think about, what did I eat yesterday? What did I eat the day before? Test for allergies. If you haven't tested before, test your allergies. Do you have any allergies? Dust mites, cat hair, and so forth. The other thing is exfoliate. This is absolutely key. And yesterday I did a podcast on exfoliating with a brush, right? You can do this with sea salt. The key is to remove dead skin cells and unplug the hair follicles to gently exfoliate without irritating the skin and making the problem worse. So you just get the brush that I spoke about or whatever and just exfoliate, just to make sure that you are removing. I'm just having a look at my ones here. I have a few too. There you go. Just exfoliate, right? It is going to help. So dry brushing helps unclog the pores and remove the dead skin, same as exfoliating. I would highly suggest avoiding tight clothes. That's what I would do around that area, because it just doesn't breathe. Your skin doesn't breathe. I would look at my omega-3 foods in my diet. Do I have enough omega-3 foods? And one of the key ones, are you ready for this, is vitamin A, right? Vitamin A foods. Do you have enough of these vitamin A foods in your diet? What are they? Apricots, egg yolks, green leafy vegetables, sweet potato, fish liver oils, and so forth. Do you have enough zinc in your diet? Nuts, seeds, oysters, and so forth. Bioflavonoids. Make sure you're hydrated. I'll make sure I'm hydrated enough. Drink enough water, because our skin needs water. You can hear Keeper barking. He's going a bit mental. I love it. Remove that sugar, alcohol, dairy, preservatives. They are a no-go. They need to go out of your diet, and see if there's any benefits. Sometimes if none of these things kind of were working for me, let's say, what would I do, right? If none of these things were working, I would need to look at my liver health, because having liver issues directly affects our skin. If our liver is not processing the way it's supposed to be processing, or if it's overloaded, depending on phase 1, phase 2, if it's overloaded, usually it's the phase 2, is then what's happening, right? And then we're to look at, are we having enough of the cofactors for our liver to function, like proteins, B vitamins, and so forth, right? The other thing that you can look at is sea buckthorn oil. It can help. But these are some of the things that I would do, first of all, looking at my diet, eliminating it, and leaving and exfoliating. Key, exfoliate. And if you are going to moisturize with any of the cream, make sure it is natural, right? Make sure it's not something that's going to clog up those pores. It's something that is going to be beneficial. So there you have it, a bit of information on what is up with my chicken skin and what can I do. Let me know if you've had any success or what you've tried for this type of skin condition called keratosis pilaris, chicken skin on the back of your arms or thighs, right? And if you like this podcast, share it with someone you love, someone who might find this beneficial. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me and I'll be in touch with you, hopefully be able to answer your question via the Natural Health Podcast. And if you want to join our health and success oriented community, click below and join the Natural Health newsletter. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. And in no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mihaela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in educational content.